So whatever we do in the course, we're going to first ask ourselves, what's the level of measurement of the variable? And then we're going to decide what we can do with it based on which level of measurement it is. In the very next lessons, we're going to talk about central tendency, which is a way of summarizing the variable. And we're going to have different ways that we can calculate central tendency, and it's going to be different depending on which level of measurement. Now, as we get further into the course, we won't just be about summarizing or talking about one variable, but then we'll get into the situation where we have two variables, and one of them will be the independent variable, and one of them will be the dependent variable. And so we'll have to ask ourselves, in both cases, what's the level of measurement of the independent variable, and what's the level of measurement of the dependent variable? And then we'll use the combination of those two levels of measurement to decide what we're going to do. And so this, in essence, lays out the entire course for you. Okay? So what you have is a table. What we're going to do as we go through the course is we're just going to fill in this chart. Okay? So we're going to work with a section where we have a nominal and a nominal level variable, and then we're going to fill something in here in this square. And we're going to learn how to do what we do with nominal. And we're going to do other things where we have a nominal independent variable, and we have an interval, dependent variable, and we're going to figure out what to do with that. And we're going to continue on. Maybe we'll have an interval and an interval, and we'll have a ratio and a ratio. And so we're going to put something different, a different technique in every one of these squares. We're going to fill in this chart. It's going to be really easy, and then at the end, you're going to have this chart, and you're always going to know what to do. And you're just going to look at your data, and you're going to say, oh, I have ordinal, and I have interval, so I need to do what's in this box. And that's how the course is going to be organized, okay? The simpler levels of measurement, nominal and ordinal, place real important limitations on what we can do with our data and how we can understand it. And so the simpler one is going to have kind of a powerful impact in constricting the options that are available to us. Okay? Actually, it's the case that you can use techniques down here for more complicated variables. Okay, so I can use whatever this nominal technique is. I can also use it for ordinal. Okay, but when I do that, I'm going to have to treat ordinal as if it's nominal. Okay, so I'm going to lose information when I do that. I'm going to lose the information that those categories are ordered. Okay, I'm just going to have to treat them like categories that aren't ordered. So I'm losing the ordered information, but then that's going to allow me to use this technique. And there might be times when I need or want to do that for various reasons. Okay? So you can always do that kind of shift where you use a simpler technique for a more complex kind of variable, but you lose information when you do that. The opposite of that is not true. You can't use a more complex technique with simpler variables, so I can't take my interval technique and use it for ordinal, because I don't have enough information to use that technique, okay? A lot of times in data, you'll see that categories or ordinal things get numbered somehow just to kind of keep track of them. So if I have races, okay, so that's a nominal level variable, they might say 1, just for the sake of coding, 1 is white, 2 is black, 3 is Asian, 4 is Latino, okay, something like that. That's fine, you can number them, but that doesn't mean all of a sudden just because I stuck numbers on them that they became ordinal or interval, okay? And so sometimes people make a mistake with that because they see the number and they think it's interval, and so they try to use an interval technique on something that's really a nominal level variable. So I want you to be careful about that you don't make that kind of mistake, okay? All right, I think that's it for levels of measurement. Now, if you keep this in mind as we're going through the rest of the course, I think it'll really guide you and remind you about what we're doing. So every time I start a new lesson or talk about a different technique, I'm going to talk about the level of measurement that's required for it. I'm going to ask you to think about that. I'm going to talk about what the technique does, and I'm going to ask you, what level of measurement of variable do I need to do that? And we're going to pick examples as we go along that match properly the level of measurement to the different techniques that we're using. See you next time.